Welcome, welcome. My name is Lisa Parenteau, and welcome Michael Weisman, my very special guest today, to the Lifting Others as We Rise Mastermind. Michael is an amazingly accomplished realtor and just human being in general. I know him from, we in our hat closet, we share a few of our hats. One of those hat closets is, of course, being an eXp Realty agent. One of our hats in the closet is being an icon agent, although Michael has a few more of the statues. I got a couple up on my shelf.
I have just three.
Well, I have two. All right, one more than
Okay.
me.
There you go.
Icon agent within the company. We also sit together on the National Agent Advisory Council, which has been really great because Michael's perspective from his market, from his entire family, five kids being
Six
involved,
six kids and five at EXP, five licensed.
right? So that's like that's a big dinner table conversation.
It can be. My wife is getting licensed right now, actually, so we'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
my wife
Oh,
licensed.
nice. Nice. She's finally jumping into the group. That's fabulous. So you come to us with amazing credentials to share, but you really, where I really know you from
Mm.
is being super excited to dig into whatever tech is happening
Mhm.
at the moment. You've always been a tech guy. And I think one of your sons,
Mhm.
who I think I also met, we did a build together in New
Ben,
Jersey
yep.
a year ago.
Mhm.
And you and I had spoken, privately about I'm using it. We're all using it. I know I'm not using it like I could be, and I've
Mm.
I've sat in on sessions about all these millions of things I'm going to do, and I don't do any of those.
Mm.
And you said, there's a pretty simple way to start training
Mhm.
it, and that if you do a couple of really, simple things, that will
Mhm.
dramatically increase
Mhm.
your the output that you get, and have
Yeah,
it and not have to keep redoing it and taking out all the crazy things that would not be from you. So, with
right.
all of that, very excited today to learn more because I am using AI all day long, every day, and I'm really excited to do it more effectively, more efficiently, and have it be more authentic. If
Cool.
that's
That's great.
possible, I think that's part of what we can bring into all of this authenticity into that artificial intelligence. So, with all of
Yep.
that, I give you Michael.
Great. Well, thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it. It's really excited to be here and spend the next half hour, 40 minutes, kind of go overing some of the things we can do to really work on the AI and make it work better for us, make it more efficient and effective. Effectiveness is always the key, right? To make it more effective for us. And what's the best way to accomplish that? So we've got a pretty small group, which is great. I think we can keep it sort of interactive if that's okay, as
Yeah.
opposed to just a straight lecture. There are some familiar names in here, of course. Mary Ellen, who's just her background there, but I know very well. There's Mary Ellen. Hey, Mary Ellen. So we and I'm sure we're all using. I know Lisa, you mentioned using it a lot, right? Everyone else, what you're using AI? I'd love to hear some just to start off, if it's okay. What you are using AI for is in your business because we have a small group. Feel free to unmic, and that'll help me also really focus on what to focus. I know I have what to talk about. Don't get me wrong. I kind of understand what we should talk about, and we're teaching it. We teach 8-week classes on this, so obviously we're going to cover the initial parts, a piece of the first class, basically, right, which is the foundational part of it. But I'd love to hear how folks are using AI right now in their business, and then we can talk about how maybe you'd like to be using it. So, what are some ways? Lisa, you mentioned using it almost every day. What are the more common ways? Or Dorothy, you raised your hand. I said,
I feel like I'm a complete idiot. This is something I need to know. I hear about it all the time. And I am told, oh, it's going to write things for you. It does everything for you. You're
mm,
using it already. You just don't even know it. And I think, okay, fine, let's figure it out, like riding a bike.
hmm okay,
Okay. That's why I'm here. I want to hear everything I can possibly hear from everyone who's willing to tell me. And I can piece the puzzle together. I
excellent,
hope.
excellent. You will.
Thank
Um,
you.
okay, who else? Share. What are we using it for?
I use it for my property descriptions
Okay.
and to help create my post online. So for my stories,
hmm
for um, my IG post, and then what I'm starting to do now, I haven't implemented it yet, but oh, if I want to create like a campaign or something like that, give me like a timeline of the best way to when should I post, what kind of post should I do, like what day, to kind of just give me like a whole timeline of when to do it.
Excellent. And you're in ChatGPT, Suan, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Excellent. Who else is using
Hey,
it
I'll
regularly?
share. I'll certainly
Yeah.
share. So I use it for a lot of content development. I have a million ideas all the time. I'm
Hmm.
also doing a lot of work in mindfulness and kind
Hmm.
of mindful leadership and all the leadership stuff that I do. So, and that's a whole project called Rooted Growth. And so
Hmm.
I am constantly feeding, and like it knows now that I'm a realtor, I'm a grandma, I'm
Hmm.
looking to, lean more into all of that. And so
Hmm.
I mean, certainly content development. I mean, that's been a huge piece for me, whether it's programs or programs that I'm pitching to somebody, or outlines the bridge program, our program for
Hmm.
national AAC to the state AACs. Some of that, right? So when I was pitching that to
Hmm.
leadership, I threw in kind of here's what I'd like to do,
Hmm.
and I use it for follow-up emails. I mean, there's
Okay,
just
great. So
like
that's going to be part of today.
everything, point everything.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Anyone else want to share what they're using it for? Mike? Yeah.
Oh, same thing. I use it for content, for listings, for when I draw up emails,
Great.
ChatGPT, same thing. I use it for everything because I just feel reword stuff much better than I could.
Excellent.
Whatever
Okay.
I do, I put it in ChatGPT, copy
Mm.
it, paste it, and send it off. So it's been great.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Anybody else before we hop in? I want to hear from as many people as we can. And so we're hearing a lot of consistency, similarities, that I think is great because we're all realtors, so we're going to hear it using it, but different aspects of our lives too are using it for as well, like Lisa is in her other focuses and interests, and I do the same. So, okay. So let me ask the question, right? So, Lisa, you mentioned one thing that was interesting, right? And you say that it knows more about you a lot now. It knows that you're, your family situation, it knows your structure, it knows what you're a realtor, right? How did you go about teaching it that? Or is it picking up on the memories, saved memories that ChatGPT has been doing it? Has that happened come along the way? Have you noticed it getting better, improving
It,
as you use it?
well, it's a little challenging because also I have three computers and my phone.
Yeah.
And I use it on all devices. I don't use all, one of those is like a little laptop that I just use primarily for travel or like going out to an appointment.
Yep.
My,
Yep.
my desktop that's here, and then my other larger computer upstairs. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, even though it's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
ubiquitous, it's not exactly. So I realized I had to start creating projects.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so, but I mean, I've only found out by losing all of these, this fabulous stuff that we've been creating. So
Hmm.
the projects have helped, but I still am tripping over everything. Like
Okay.
now I've kind of developed a house of cards where I just download everything somewhere and
Hmm.
put it somewhere. I copy
Yep.
and paste everything into a Google Doc so I don't lose it in the moment.
Yep.
But like I'm not, that's so inefficient. What I'm doing is incredibly inefficient, I
Okay.
feel.
Right there. So yeah, projects are a big part of what we've been teaching in the main workshop series. They've been improving all for quite a while now. So I'm gonna kind of go to the like a foundational thing, and I'm gonna do it by showing a couple of examples of. I think we all agree that everyone here was using it to like help them. I heard follow-up emails, and that's was kind of my demonstration today that I had written. And so, every time I interact with potential client, and the majority of what I interact with now are other agents as I'm building an organization. Every one of those conversations is transcribed, like literally everyone, even the initial call. And if I go to a listing appointment, I'm sitting with a seller, I'm asking for permission to take digital notes when I sit with them, right? I'm not, and the language is important. I'm just saying this because as realtors, we want to always be attention to our language, right? Like I never say to a seller, your listing expired. It's just because that's our internal speak, right? So your listing didn't sell the first time around. It came off the market, right? We're going to avoid. So language is important. So when I'm sitting with a seller, I will always ask if it's okay if I take digital notes. And what I'll do is I'll take my phone and I use an app called Granola. It's Granola.ai. It used to only be available on a Mac. It is now available on a PC. So those in the PC world can benefit as well. Anybody that's ever had the privilege of sitting with Glenn at a table when he's masterminding, Lisa, you certainly have. He sits down, he puts his fireflies on the table, and he's taking the digital notes. Okay. So that we're doing exactly the same thing. I'm taking digital notes, and that's why I phrase it like that, because people, if you say, do you mind if I record this? It's just a trigger word. People think, what are you going to use the recording for? I think there's been so much about that, but digital notes is something just has and it's true too, because the granola does not record the conversation per se. It literally just transcribes and takes notes. So you can't play back the voice call from it. It's not like there's a video or voice record. Some of the other ones like Fireflies or what I'm thinking of here, like a Fathom or the one I used to use, Otter, that
Otter.
does actually take the notes. It takes the voice as well. But either way, you want to use digital note taker, and a lot of what we're going to look at today is based upon using that digital note taker. Because then what you're going to find, you're really going to be able to write really solid follow-up emails and really solidify your process. But going to the foundations, so when you use one of these large language models, that's an LLM, large language model. The most popular one or common one, let's say, is ChatGPT, right? That's by OpenAI. It's called a large language model, LLM. And there's different versions of it. There's O3, there's O4, right? Most of us are using, or 4.0, 4.0, they call it. O3 is more of a research model. And then there's also another one called Claude. Anybody here using Claude? I know I use it extensively. Mary Ellen, maybe somewhat now because she's been in some of my trainings. Claude is by a company called Anthropic. There's 3 or 4 that are being widely used now, LLMs, right? OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, kind of the early adopter of that. There's Anthropic, which has Claude. There's Google with Gemini, and I think those are the 3 main ones you'll come across, and then some maybe using Grok, right? Elon Musk's version, right? Those are the 4 that are the most prevalent. I would say from a creative perspective or business perspective, the most common is certainly ChatGPT. Claude is the better writer for content creation. I'll tell you about Claude is generally acknowledged by most copywriters as delivering the best written output, most human-like output, and it's also it tends to follow instructions better and more and as far as delivering. If you give it a template, it follows the template better. So, but what I'm seeing is that as one LLM, one model kind of makes an advancement, the other model comes right behind. Very similar. My analogy is kind of like it's the Kentucky Derby, so to speak, right? And if you're going to get into the Kentucky Derby, if you want, I don't know how many horses there are, 10 horses, you're going to be the 10 fastest horses and jockeys anywhere, right? There's probably 1 million horses and jockeys that can compete. So these LLMs are going to be, if one gets ahead, one's coming up behind pretty close. That being said, they do have their specialties and their specifics. So Grok is trained in all the knowledge on X and Twitter. It tends to be very good for news content and looking at social media content and that sort of thing, opinions. Claude is very good at writing, creative writing, and also people that do coding. It's a very good at writing code, actually creating sites. And then ChatGPT is a very kind of a Swiss Army knife of everything. And it's very good at what's called deep research if you use their O3 model right now. So what I'm going to show you today can be done in either really ChatGPT or Claude. I tend to use Claude on a day-to-day basis more than I use ChatGPT for my writing, but that doesn't mean you have to have them both. I do. I have several tools, and for me, the $20 a month that I spend on these things, it's like hiring a whole extra person, right? Literally full time. So I'm okay spending $150 a month on AI tools because they leverage my time. So I'm gonna do a quick demo here. So what I've done, I'll share my screen. So what I'm gonna think about the best way to, yeah. So here's also here, we're gonna get to this. Understand that when you use the LLM, Claude or ChatGPT, right? That if you spend the time to teach it first everything about you in a very detailed, what we can call it like a business model or UVP, unique value proposition, for example, and you load that into the settings level, the system level, that will persist across every interaction that you have with the language model. Right? And so spending the time to do that is always the first thing that I teach, or anybody teaching you to use these models will teach. So has anyone done similar to that already yet? If you have, it's okay. We're just going to go over it again. So if you're not, good. We're in the right going the right direction here. Okay. So, and it's going to take you about, we have a short time this morning. This will take you an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Maybe we'll come back to it. And it's a living document. And I have several of these living documents. So I have about a 4-page document right now that is my unique value proposition of my EXP organization. And it knows everything about that. The services we provide, the extra we provide. It knows about several of my co-sponsors now that I frequently sponsor with. It knows everything about what we do, how we do it, why we do it, where we do it. I work for my real estate business here in Maine. I'm based in Mid-Coast, Maine. And there's a unique value proposition. That's essentially, if I hand that off to if I give it to a copywriter and I said, start making me content or writing me ads, that's what a copywriter would need, right? I wouldn't just tell them I'm a real estate agent in Maine. They'd want to know, where do you work? How do you work? What do you specialize in? What are you best at? What's your process working with a client from A to Z, start to finish? What does your listing process look like? What does your buyer process look like? Right. And this sounds like a lot right now, and it certainly is. I'm not going to go over all this today, but realize this is what you start breaking down your business into. But it all starts with this initial prompt. I'm going to give it to you before I have a handout that I prepared, Lisa, which is a kind of abbreviated one of my first lesson, that if you run this prompt, it'll ask you about 25, 30 questions. And by the time you've done, it'll generate your business profile, your unique profile. And you will I'll show you where to put it. You'll take that profile and you will literally paste it into at the settings level. I'll show you where that is in your preferred model, whether that's Claude or ChatGPT. And then every time you go back to that ChatGPT or Claude and any chat, it will know, it'll reference that. So it's the difference between having an employee that's trained, fully knows everything about your business, or someone that's just starting and doesn't know anything about your business. All they know is you're a real estate agent, right? So, and then you could even go another level. It becomes, as you use it, and it's a living document, and you keep creating addendums to that, so to speak. The AI literally becomes like an executive assistant would have. If you picture a high-level CEO of any major Fortune 500 company, right? Probably has an executive assistant that knows everything about them, anything about them, right? And if they need a present for so-and-so, even what, they know what to go get, right? They don't have to, go buy a particular this or that for so-and-so because it's their birthday anniversary, right? They know as much about anything about any, they're almost a replacement for themselves, right? So they can step into the role, so to speak, whatever that needs to be. That's what your assistants will become, but it's all from your training. So let's show a quick example here. I can share a screen, Lisa, right? Let me just reset up my screen here. New chat.
Yes, you can share.
Cool. So what I did is I started with, I'm gonna screen share. So I generated a mock transcript of a listing appointment. It's for a real property, but I just to anonymize it, basically. I had it create a transcript for me. Okay, you should be seeing just a ChatGPT screen here. Okay, so what I have here is this is a ChatGPT that is not customized at all. Okay, it's just it's only as smart as ChatGPT is right here. Okay, it's a second account that I opened up just to use for this purpose. Okay, and what I did is I had a chat earlier, and let me find it here. Find the search chat and find the last chat. It's not finding it. Let me back up here. Here it is right here. Okay, so I gave this ChatGPT a listing transcript, right? And I said, this is a transcript from a listing appointment I had recently. I want you to create me a follow-up email with this client to effectively summarize what we discussed and talk about the next steps moving forward. Does that sound like a reasonable prompt that you guys would use as well? If you're writing, I mean, Mike, you mentioned you use it. How do you prompt it? Is it similar to that?
Yeah, well, pretty much what I do, I'll just put rephrase and into professional email from realtor or client,
Perfect. Yep.
and then
So this,
they'll put the details in there, a few buzzwords, and then let it go.
got it. So this is similar to, so what this is a listing transcript here. Okay. This is a transcript where I had a conversation with the seller and they were telling me how much they want to sell for and their challenges and where they want it to go, just like an actual listing appointment that we had. Then I've come back and I'm going to write a follow-up email, let's say to secure the listing or the next step. So I took this transcript, gave it to ChatGPT. Okay, I wonder if I could even find the transcript here. I can do it actually. Let me just see. I'm gonna go on my folder here. If I go to recents, I'll do it in real time with you guys. Right here, where is it? Downloads in here. Right here. Okay, so let's just do it in real time. Okay, so I'm in my documents. So here is a transcript right here. Just dragging it in. Okay, and then I'm going to give it the prompt. Now, when I prompt, by the way, I don't type on my computer anymore. I use an app called Whisperflow, Whisperflow, and it's kind of like if you're using a Mac, it's kind of like Siri or Windows voice to text, but it's a lot better because it's AI powered. And I can give you a link for it at the end. I think I have like a referral link to give you like a free trial for it. But it punctuates for you, so it literally it lets you type it like 150 words a minute, so to speak. So I'm going to give it a prompt. You'll hear me do it. I'm going to say into this box here as I hold this key down to speak, but I think you'll still hear me. Okay. So this is a transcript I had with a seller recently. I'm just back from the appointment. I now want to send them a really good follow-up email summarizing what we discussed, talking about the next steps, and letting them know that we're ready to move forward. So please create me a really strong follow-up email for these sellers. Okay, it's just very simple prompt. You heard me say that, right? I can't tell. Okay, cool. So let's hit enter. So it's going to read that transcript. It's about a 20-minute long transcript. Thanks for sharing the transcript. Based on your recent listing appointment, here's a strong professional follow-up email that captures the key points, reflects your tone, and clearly outlines the next steps. So I'm just going to read it through with you guys, and let's see if we think it's any good. So great meeting you. Let's move forward. Hi, seller name. Let's see. It didn't seem to. So it seemed to not read the transcript properly. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Maybe I put the wrong one in there. Let me see something. Yeah. Hang on. Okay. Right. My mistake. So I want you to notice something here. I gave it the wrong file. Okay. And it created a very generic email, but it didn't even know that. So realize that my mistake, but the AI never admits it makes a mistake or it's wrong. It'll try to answer you. So fix it. Watch. So I'm going to tell it right here. Oops, gave you the wrong transcript, here it is. Okay, I'm going to give it the correct one. It's right here. Now watch. Okay, now it's going to say, it'll say, got it. Okay, here we go. Great. Thanks for the corrected transcript. Based on your appointment with Tom and Sarah Mitchell, 54 River Road, here's a professional, clear, and confidence-building follow-up email that reflects your conversation, aligns with their concerns, and lays out the next steps. So let's just read through it, and then we'll see what we think about it. Okay? Hi, Tom and Sarah. It was a pleasure meeting with you. Thank you again for welcoming me into your home and sharing your plans. I know this move is a big step and want you to know you're in good hands from start to finish. Here's a quick summary of what we discussed, along with the action plan to get your home sold and get you settled in Florida before school starts. Timeline and strategy. Your goal is to be in Florida before August, ideally earlier. With that in mind, we're targeting a listing date of next Friday, which gives us a solid window to attract strong offers and close on time. We agreed to list the property at $630,000, which positions us competitively in today's market and leaves room for multiple offer potential. Immediate next steps, septic and well testing. I'll send you recommendations for both inspections. Ideally, we schedule those ASAP. Knowing where things stand allow us to price strategically and avoid surprises during our buyer inspections. Listing paperwork. I'll send over listing agreement and disclosures first thing tomorrow morning for your review and signature. Home prep and decluttering, as discussed. You'll begin packing and moving personal items. I'll include a room-by-room checklist to guide the DIY staging process. Let's aim to have the home photo ready early next week. Marketing plan, professional photography, MLS, targeted Facebook, coordination. I'm just skipping a little bit. And the last couple paragraphs. I know pricing was a concern, especially with your purchase already lined up in Florida. My goal is to help you get the highest possible price, and pricing right from the beginning gives us the best shot at attracting competitive offers quickly, especially in today's market. Lastly, I want you to feel supported through every step. I'll keep you informed, advise with honesty, and make sure no details are overlooked. Let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. Otherwise, look for my email tomorrow with everything we need to move forward. You're doing the right thing, and I'm excited to help and make this transition as smooth and successful one for your family. Warm regards, Michael Weisman. What do we think? Fairly well written? I think it's fairly well written. Okay. So now the reason I'm doing this is show you what it would look like with a basic setup, right? It's a fairly decent writer. It came through okay. What I want to do now is pop over here to my Claude, okay, which I'm going to show you. It looks very similar, right? A little more, not a heck of a lot of difference, but I am going to open up a project that I've created for a listing, and I'll take the same transcript, okay, the mock listing transcript right there, okay. I'm going to give it the exact same prompt. In fact, I'll go over here, right here, and I'll grab the same prompt, okay, just so we see it's the exact same prompt. Copy that and paste it in Claude. And with one little thing, this Claude knows my business, and it already has a template that I like to send as follow-up. It's two things. It knows my business, and I've taught it how I like to have my emails, what to include, what not to include, what to say, etc. Specifically for a follow-up email. Does that make sense? So let's see the difference now between kind of the using ChatGPT as just basic as a writing tool versus a true assistant. So I'm going to say, make sure to use most recent version of our post consult template. I think it's version 3. That's what I have up to it there. B3. Yep. Okay. Perfect. So now I'm going to give it to Claude and let it go about, and then we'll check out what it writes from the exact same transcript. Okay. So here it goes. Now, it's opening on the right side. Don't get confused. If you're using ChatGPT, it's something called Canvas. You've seen that, right, Lisa? Canvas. It opens in 2 frames like this, split frame, and you can edit on the right. Claude calls it Artifact. Just a different nomenclature. Okay. So now we're going to read what Claude wrote. Remember, because it knows about me, it knows what to write. It's writing a lot more, as you can see. Okay. And when it's done, we'll read through this, and then we'll see which one we would prefer to send our client. Okay. Tom and Sarah. So, dear Tom and Sarah, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today regarding the sale of your property at 54 River Road in Richmond, Maine. I'm genuinely grateful for the trust you've placed in our team, and I want you to know that our commitment goes beyond simply meeting your goals. We're dedicated to exceeding our expectations at every step of this journey. I want to follow up immediately with a clear recap of our discussion and outline exactly what happens next. Meeting recap and your objectives. During our consultation, we discussed your clear objectives. Relocate to Tampa, Florida before your daughter starts high school in August, with company relocation assistance covering the move. Pricing strategy. Starting at $630,000, middle of a recommended $625 to $635 to attract multiple offers. How to drive the higher price than starting at $700 as chasing the market down. Marketing approach. Professional photography, MLS listing on major sites, targeted Facebook marketing, leveraging a database of active buyers. Timeline, 75 to 90 days. From listing to closing, expectations of under contract within 30 days when priced correctly. Okay, property preparation and improvements discussed. So I'm not going to read it straight through, but you see how much more detailed it is. Septic inspection, water testing, decluttering and staging, minor repairs. Timeline for completion. Photography and marketing setup. Our next steps include professional photography with full marketing package, including in commission, 3D Matterport tour. The other one didn't mention that. It knows I do that. And targeted Facebook, reaching buyers specifically looking at Richmond price range. Documentation and paperwork, right? Digital listing agreement, 6 areas discussed, required state disclosures, left paint disclosures, each document included clear instructions from Rachel. Your team and communication, primary context, Michael Weisman, team owner, right? Listing specialist, Rachel Weisman, and it's going to put her contact information in there. This is a sample, that's why it's not doing it. Communication schedule. Every Monday, you'll receive a detailed update covering the previous week, Monday to Monday. Updates include showing activity, feedback analysis, strategic communications, 2-hour notice for showings and ability to block time for Sarah's work from home schedule. What happens next? Okay. Notice a checklist, email listing paperwork, and septic well testing recommendations, provide decluttering checklist, schedule photography, target MLS activation for Friday, what we need, complete septics, right? Decluttering. It knows everything, a lot more detail. Why you made the right choice. As we discussed today, what sets our team apart is our unique combination of deep market expertise and genuine care for your success. My listings only specialization means you're getting focused attention from someone who truly understands the seller needs. While our proven track record of selling on 50 properties in Richmond and surrounding towns with an average of 18 days on market demonstrates our market effectiveness. With Rachel managing every detail of your transaction, you'll never worry about something falling through the cracks. Our full service marketing approach doesn't just put your property online, it strategically positions it in front of the buyers who truly appreciate what you're offering. This isn't about just selling your home, it's about getting you to Florida on time while maximizing your equity for that new home purchase. Questions or concerns? You should always know what's happening next. If you have any questions about our process, time, and documentation, please reach out immediately to Rachel and myself. Remember, our goal is to make this process seamless while achieving your objectives of relocating in Tampa, blah, blah, blah. So you notice the difference in the 2 emails? Huge difference. Okay. That's because it knows my process. It knows my listing process. And so this project that I have here, it knows this is my listing process right here. I want you to see it, just take a look at that on the screen, right? So master listing process of our property team, right? So it knows phase 1, pre-consult, initial lead qualification, property research, prepare consultation, right? Phase 2, seller consultation. Phase 3, post-consultation. Phase 4, documentation and legal. Phase 5, property prep. Phase 6, photography and marketing. Okay. See how detailed that is, right? Phase 7. You all have this. This is nothing different than and you have it. And Lisa, you're as a luxury agent, I know you probably have this and more, right? Right? Phase 8, phase 9, phase 10. Team roles and responsibilities, right? Michael Weisman, Rachel Weisman, photography team, communication standards, Monday updates, immediate response, group chats, digital notes, right? Internal team communications. We use Slack already, right? Success metrics and quality standards, timeline and goals. So this is something that I built from basically a prompt which told Claude to ask me enough questions to completely understand my listing process. Okay. Now that's like week 4 or week 3 or 4 in my training. So, but I'm just showing it to you so you get an idea. This is what it's using to create follow-up emails. This is what I'm going to use at any point in time. It's because Claude knows my process. Now it's able to compose much more intelligent emails. Okay. Does that make sense? So that's just demonstrating in a simple how teaching Claude about you works. So let me show you now. I'm going to put into the chat here a prompt for you guys. Let me download here. Downloads right here. This is the handout here. So let me find the chat. And I'm going to drag this into into your meeting. There's going to be a PDF coming in here. And I'll open it on my screen too so I can look at it with you. Grab this because most of the information has to go initially. So let me show you this. Let me go back over to Claude. Okay, I'm going to back. You should see Claude on the screen now. It's the same place in ChatGPT, by the way, and I'll show you that as well. But over here in settings, okay, I'm in my settings right now with Claude. Okay, so Claude has a thing here where it says describe your personal preferences. Okay, name, what's your role, the name of your company, how do you want to use AI, what's your strengths, what are your weaknesses, company, who are we, right? How many employees right now? I should just actually get updated. We're actually at 95 agents right now, right? Who do you report to? Who reports to you? What markets do you serve? Ideal customer. I mean, it knows it's actually several pages of, right? And here is the real property team profile. So at least this is where you can start using your AI for more than one thing. It can know versions of you, and you can create projects that persist, right? But the AI can also know at the top level that you do multiple things. Okay. Now this is where Claude has a little advantage over ChatGPT, in that Claude can take more system level instructions right now than ChatGPT can. But that's changing. I'll explain that in a second. So here's my specific prof to the real property team, my production team based in Midcoast, Maine. So this knows everything about my team in Maine. How long I've been an agent, my financial background as a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley, managing $50 million in assets, right? The fact where we're brokered by, of course, our team structure. I have Rob, my oldest son, has Ben, my youngest son, and knows he does the marketing. It knows Rachel's my team transaction coordinator. It knows so much about me, as much as I possibly could ever imagine any other entity would know about my business. It knows. And this is a living document, right? Investor perspective, unique insights and personal investment experience, family enterprise, and it goes on and on. So what I just gave you in the chat, okay, is a prompt. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to run this prompt. And let's go over to ChatGPT actually right now. And let me show you how this works. So let's go with a new chat. Now, ChatGPT, by the way, has the exact same thing over here in the settings. You click on this little thing where you get settings of, this is not my paid one, obviously, but let me just switch accounts here real quick. And let me log out of this one and log into my paid version, because you do need the paid version to unlock almost all these features, right? Otherwise, you're really running with one hand tied behind your back. If you're trying to just use the free versions, you can get pretty far, but you will need the paid version. Okay, so paid version, when I go customize ChatGPT, you can see here, that's where it is. You click on your picture and then customize ChatGPT. This should be filled out by all of you. Like, is this filled out by any? Do you have all this filled out right now? Anybody? Lisa, no? So this is step one. So what's written in here, okay, is and my Claude has even the more detailed one, right? It knows everything about me in here. So what you're going to do is the prompt I just gave you, which, can everybody get the download there? Tell me if you can't. You can? Okay, good. So
Got it.
Good. So where it says, let me scroll down here. It says, it starts with, I want to create. Okay. You're going to copy, I want to create, all the way down where it's in that Courier font. Okay. Right there. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste this right into ChatGPT right here. Okay. And I'm going to use what the 4.0 model is what you should use most often right now. That's the most competent, capable model. It's really good for everything. But I'm going to give it just that prompt, and it will start off asking me questions.
I didn't see that prompt in what you sent us, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So if I sent you the right thing, just scroll down.
What it says. Oh, okay. Maybe I haven't.
Maybe it's on page 2. If it's on page 2.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Just scroll through it.
Yep.
It's
User
in
error.
the Courier font. Okay.
I see it. Yeah. Thanks.
So perfect. Let's take this step by step and build a living, breathing profile that reflects exactly who you are, how you work, and how I can support you best. Okay. So it's asking questions. What originally drew you into real estate? What has kept you committed over the years? How would you describe your primary role in your business today? Beyond your title and accomplishments, how do you want people to perceive you as a leader and collaborate in real estate space? Right? Is there any aspect of your personal background, family, military, hobbies, past careers that deeply influences how you lead, sell, or support others? Right? You can, and it's going to go on. It'll go on for probably about a half hour, 40 minutes. It's going to ask your personal background, professional role, business structure, and team setup. It's going to ask you about your market focus and geographic area, your client demographics, specializations, unique value proposition, and differentiators. What makes you special in your market? I happen to be a pretty good. I like work. I work with. If I work with, most people, it's a lot of investors. right? We have multiple Airbnb properties, multifamilies, that sort of thing. That's what we feel we have a specialty in. Current systems and tools, right? I have 2 Matterport cameras for everything. We do all that stuff. We have the drones, we have in-house photography, et cetera, et cetera. We have capabilities for that. We do a lot of virtual staging. Communication style and brand voice, super important. Business goals and challenges. There's 8 categories there that's going to ask you, and it's going to take a little while. There's like 4 or 5 questions in each one. It's like 40 questions. The way you answer this, by the way, now is just, I have it do it in this conversational way. So you go back in here, and number 1, you just start talking to it, right? When I came to real estate 6 years ago, I actually got my license because I was looking to purchase properties, not become an agent. A real estate agents were actually an obstacle for me. I wanted to get into the door. Okay, so my interest was initially as an investor, and then as one of my sons got licensed, another son got licensed, we realized this could be a great family business, and we could use our marketing skills that we used to build previous businesses in real estate. It's got to be a primary role. My primary role today is a team leader and business builder, and then you go on with that. You don't have to worry about answering it any kind of fancy, grammatically correct way, or even numbering it. It doesn't care. It'll read it, right? And then you're going to go on. You can say, okay. I can say, okay, next section, please, right? I'm just going to go faster, but right next, it'll keep going through. Okay. And if for some reason it doesn't, just keep it going. In other words, one thing you want to get really used to when you're working with these LM models is to talk to them just like an executive assistant. If it's going off track, off tangent, stop it. Say, no, wait a second, that's not the direction I want to go. Let's stay on track here. Let's get this, let's focus on this. Section 2, structure of your real estate business. So we've now run as a team, et cetera, et cetera. I've got a transaction coordinator. It's my oldest daughter, Rachel. She's our full-time TC. My son, Rob, does mostly of our listings. He does rehabs.
Michael, can I ask you a question right now?
Yep, for sure.
When you started this sort of very foundational training response, call and response kind of, did you start a project to do that? So you put it there?
You can. You don't have to.
I mean, me losing things and then between the different computers is part of my.
So you can. So I mean, you can always search chats. So you can. So if you notice in Claude, like over here on my Claude, let me go to my Claude right here. I have projects over here, and the way I organize right now is, so one project was, let's see here, master listing template, right? To create my that's a project. I have a project to create, let's see, when you're talking about setting up Claude for real estate production. Yes, it's a project. So the prompt can go in there and you can keep it there. Okay. One thing that these ChatGPT and Claude are not good at yet is the chats just kind of recur. They go on and on. You can lose them. And so with ChatGPT, what I've done is I actually create, if you see them in my menu bar here, if you go to my menu bar, I have saved chats, because chats in ChatGPT, everyone's a separate URL. So if I'm over here, let's say I want to save this chat as the one I come back to all the time, I can actually bookmark it and add it into my ChatGPT folder and put it in wherever I want to put it. Let's say, EXP or ChatGPT folder, right? You can bookmark chats. So now that this URL up here is unique to this chat, always will be. So you can bookmark chats the same way you bookmark any website. And then you can organize them up here in your browser bar. So here's my content ideas. It's an attraction.
That would substitute me copying and pasting them into a million Google Docs.
Correct.
Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly? Okay.
Correct. Everyone is a unique URL at the top, right? So you can just create nested folders up here and keep them together. Projects are something that is coming along, and we use it for everything now. Every listing I have is its own project, and that project already has my templates from my emails, templates for my checklists, It knows, of course, our whole process. So after a client meeting, I can come back, or an offer comes in, I can paste it into that project. It knows how to respond already. I'm not teaching it every time. So every project, every listing is a project. And then every project is templated for to be, to serve as a listing. So it already knows how to respond. I'm not teaching it new every time, right? But
Michael,
yeah.
hi. Just a quick question. So do you insert graphics and images to, like when you say like listing presentation, like can you just add as if you were doing Canva, or you just grab the text from Claude and put into Canva?
To do for we
Like
say
when
this-
you wanna insert like images or graphics or whatever into.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're using graphics, you're not going to do that. You might generate them in one of the in ChatGPT, but you'll be using like something like a Gamma AI, which is a presentation generator, or Canva. Correct.
I see.
Right. But just to make sure I've completed everything I wanted to accomplish for you guys today. After you run that prompt, what you're going to find, you're going to have an incredible document that literally is your business. It'll be as long as it needs to be. Don't worry about it'll be 2, 3, 4 pages. And you're going to take that document, and what you're going to do is you're going to go in here into the customized ChatGPT, and you are going to now I know what their character limits are here now. So you may have to ask ChatGPT, right? You might have to say at the end of that, please limit this to a length that I can place it into to customize my ChatGPT. Like anything else ChatGPT should know about you, right? What traits should ChatGPT have? And anything else it should know about you, this section here, you want to make it so it fits in here. But you want to fill out this entire section as much as you can. Okay. And again, the limits change all the time. If you try to paste it, it says it's too long, go back to ChatGPT and say, I need a version of this to paste in the settings of ChatGPT of anything else it should know about me, and it will give it to you. Now, additionally, Lisa, when you start a new project, or when you set up, let's say for a project for your real estate, for anything to do with real estate content creation, you want to have these documents saved. I like to save them as what's called .md files, called Markdown, as opposed to PDF, but PDF works fine also. .md is just the easier to read format for the LMs. It's called Markdown. So I have them saved as documents on their own, or Google Docs is fine, right? So, and when you want to start creating, have the project or a GPT, we don't have time to go into that you're going to use to create content, give it that document that this prompt generates. Don't worry, it might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 pages. That's fine. That's your business, right? And so, stopping share, when you take that document that you're going to generate from that prompt and you give it to a project or a GPT, if you're using Claude, that entire length can go into your settings. That's why Claude tends to be better. It's more for writers and copywriters. That's why I use it. Okay. But you can accomplish the same thing in ChatGPT. You don't have to go switching around too much, right? So start a new project, but take that foundational document and put it in almost every project. Just drag it in as a document. Just drag it in.
But it doesn't just reference it from the settings.
Well, the ChatGPT has a limited amount of text.
No, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start a new project for, let's say, follow-up emails, drag that in there. And now every follow-up email you write is going to be that much more like we saw our examples, right? And then when you finally find a follow-up email that you really like, this is what I do with my recruiting, right? If you see my follow-up emails, they're incredibly detailed. They're talking about pain points. They're talking about solutions. It knows everything about the solutions we offer, and it knows how I like to write. When you finally find a few emails, so I like that email, and I'd like to have that kind of email consistently each time. I took 5 or 6 of these emails, maybe 10 of those emails at some point, and I put them into the AI, and I said, make me a prompt that I can use whenever I want to make whenever I give you a transcript, to have an email like these and create me a prompt to do that. And that became the prompt that I copied into a project. And now whenever I paste a transcript, I get an email that's 90% the first time because it's looked at 10, 12 other ones that I like, right? And I'm not relying on kind of randomness anymore. This is what I like. Here's the structure. I want you to go, this is the basic structure. It's the paradigm of my email. And I want this structure all the time. And I always want to make sure we talk about this, don't talk about that. But it understood from my previous examples. I said, make me a prompt. There's a difference, right? Which has the foundation, the structure of an email like this. And then that's what you use. Given that a transcript, you'll get very consistent outputs. Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, the more I know, the more I don't know. I mean, of course, that's how this is working, right?
So the foundational thing today really is work through, take that prompt that I just gave you today, and don't. I mean, I said the tendency when you train on AI and try to do it in a short amount of time like this, that's why I do it over 8 to 10 weeks now, is we do it section by section. And I had about 65 people in, it's dwindling down. About half the group now is with it at week 7, but the ones that have stuck with it are really having a workable system now, and they're seeing it built up. They're seeing that the AI has now really become time saving because they can get results so quickly and results they want so quickly, right? That's the difference. So start with that foundational prompt and have it create essentially what is your business model. And it'll give you insights you didn't even realize, right? And then
I didn't even know you had a course, right? Like you need to put some information in there. I knew because
I know. Well,
you're an interesting guy, and I like you, and I knew you'd come and speak to our group, and we'd be able to reuse the content. Yeah, like tell us quickly. I know you have 11 o'clock, so
I do.
Yeah,
so it's finishing the beta run. So most of you know that, or some of you know that my son and I, Ben, we do a lot of consulting for people who use Google lead generation, and that's his main focus of his business right now. And so through that platform, we've been adding in other AI trainings and that sort of thing. So it's not like, so to speak, out. I mean, it will be kind of launched more formally and more officially in the coming weeks.
AI training, yeah, because it is very overwhelming, and having someone carve it into actionable pieces. Right away, I'm like, well, how do I organize each of those projects, bringing in the listing requirements, bringing in there's so that it is automatic, as you say, that you're not even,
That's right. It's all SOP, standard operating procedures, right?
Yeah.
And so if you start at the kind of foundational point of let's teach the AI about our business. Now we've got that done. Now we can put that into every single project. Let's teach the AI exactly our listing process. And I have a prompt for that helps you flesh it out. And it breaks it into as many steps as you need to be broken into. And now your listing project for a new listing, when you give it that your process and you ask it to create a piece of content or create a document, a checklist, it already knows what your process is. Okay. And so what we tend to, the AI is not going to replace your transaction coordination, or a coordinator for that matter. It's not going to replace SkySlope or things like that, but it can become the most effective communication tool that you have, right? To always be communicating and being on point and consistent in the process.
And to be a lot simpler with it. Let me ask you just a general question.
Yep.
For those of us that are still in active real estate, but also building an organization, would you suggest creating 2 separate UVPs on that, or should we just make
absolutely.
Hey, here's who I am?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I have 2 separate UVPs on that, 100%. Yep.
All right.
And I have that one built out. I had that one built out more so now than my real estate one, because that's my focus. I have it built out now that I can literally take a transcript from a half-hour, 40-minute, needs analysis call, and when I'm done, I ask it to give me a 6-text message sequence, selecting 6 videos from a 75, 80 database library that I've given it, and it will give me the exact text message, why that video is relevant to them, with a message for them as well. I set it up to go out over the next 2 weeks, and that's my follow-up. My follow-up is very customized now. It's not generic anymore. And that's making a huge impact. People, you know, because and it's truly customized. It's allowed me to leverage.
That's the course I need, Michael. So
that's a whole other one.
Course,
so that's a whole other
get going on that one.
Layers of complexity. But yeah, so it's there's a lot to go into, Lisa. But start with this. Like in the beginning, I asked who'd set up their ChatGPT, and everyone, I don't think anybody said yes.
No, I just pasted mine in the thing. I was like, yeah, no, mine is still totally blank.
You got to set it up
constantly,
so that
right?
you're working off a fully trained model. And then it will pick up on the way. ChatGPT has a long memory now. They just introduced that feature where it does remember chats. It does have cross threads. ChatGPT's projects are getting almost as good as Claude's. Claude's projects are still better, but ChatGPT has projects as well. So that's why I say it's like one pulls ahead, the other one gets up. It's just like it's kind of a horse race.
Yeah.
But Claude is the better writer. But is it a good enough vision for you to move over there? I don't know that it is, but I tend to use the Claude because it's just a better writer. But it also is you know, you don't have to get too confused with it. Stick with what you're using and maximize that first.
Yeah. Well, or what I might do is just, you know, try it because it doesn't know me yet. You know, try it, use this. But I'm more interested actually in trying to figure out the customization for the organization building piece. So
well, I've got that.
I'll reach out to you offline on that.
Training, and it's all hard to press into an hour. So I apologize if
of course. Yeah. No, thank you so much. I so appreciate this.
My pleasure.
Michael.
Hope it was some value.
Thank you.
It's been really great. I know you have to run.
Yep.
I don't even know if you have time for questions. I don't think you do.
So I can't see my Zoom room, but
it's 11:01.
Right. I stand that, but I'm trying to see if something that says so and so popped in your room, because I'm in your room. I'm not seeing if someone's coming to my room, but I do have an 11 on my calendar, so I should pop off and get over there. But happy to come back again, Lisa. Just you can always, you know how to reach me. I mean, or you can. We should be releasing our course very soon. And it's designed just for this. It's designed just to break things down. We're doing it twice a week. Monday's training, Thursday was office hours. And so I'll send you a link to it. It's still going.
Thanks a million for everything you do. Look forward to seeing you hopefully in Miami.
For sure. You count on that. Yeah, we'll be there for sure.
Absolutely. All right, great.
All right, thanks again.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all coming on. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
All right. Well, so thank you everybody for being here.